League of Legends Terms of Use, North America. Last modified May 31st, 2016. This agreement, the agreement, sets forth the terms and conditions by which Riot Games Incorporated and its subsidiaries Riot Games offer you access to use and enjoy our League of Legends computer game, the underlying game software, the software, our League of Legends website, the website, and any other of our apps, websites, games, or services that link to this agreement regardless of how you access or use them, including through mobile devices. While using these products and services, collectively the Riot services, we may require you to provide personal information. We retain and use such info according to the terms of our privacy policy, the privacy policy. Please read the terms of this agreement carefully by clicking the accept button below, or by using any of the Riot servers you agree that this agreement is enforceable like any written contract signed by you. Please note, like many consumer contracts, this agreement contains a mandatory arbitration provision and waiver of class action rights. Please read Section 15 to learn more. Number 1. Your account. Section 1, Subsection 1. Am I eligible to use the Riot servers? You must be at least 13 years old and an adult must accept this agreement. Only people ages 13 or older may create an account or use Riot services. If you're at least 13 years old but not legally considered an adult in the country you live in, you must ask one of your parents or other legal guardian to read this agreement and accept it on your behalf. You may not create or use an account on behalf of a legal entity or for a commercial purpose. Section 1, Subsection 2. I'm eligible. Yay. How can I create an account and play? Follow these steps. Playing the game requires you to A. Read and accept the terms of service in this agreement. B. Download and install a valid copy of the software. C. Register for an account. And D. Meet the minimum system requirements. These requirements may change as the game evolves. You must pay for your own internet connection, equipment, servicing, and any repair costs necessary to access the game. Section 1, Subsection 3. Do I need to provide my real name and stuff? Yes, please don't try to pull any kind of definitely not Blitzcrank or definitely not Udyr family business. You must always supply us with your accurate and complete info, including if you provide us with your name, address, birth date, email address, or credit card info. We'll use this info according to our privacy policy. Section 1, Subsection 4. Can I share or sell my account or login credentials? No. When you create an account with us, we require you to select a unique username and password, collectively your login credentials, which you'll use each time you access the game. You can't share your account or login credentials with anyone. You can't sell, transfer, or allow any other person to access your account or login credentials, or offer to do so. You're entirely responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of your login credentials. Please notify us immediately if you become aware of any breach of security, including any loss, theft, or unauthorized disclosure of your login credentials. Section 2. Account Termination. Section 2, Subsection 1. How can my account get suspended or terminated? If you break the rules, Damation Justice will be visited upon your account. 3 different people/entities can suspend or terminate your account. Section 2, Subsection 1, Subsection 1. You may terminate or suspend your account at any time by contacting us at support@riotgames.com. Section 2, Subsection 1, Subsection 2. Us. We may terminate or suspend your account if we determine in our sole discretion that A. You have violated any parts of this agreement, B. We have stopped offering Riot services in your region, or C. Doing so would be in the best interest of our community, the Riot services, or the rights of a third party. We may take such determinations, among other ways, by using automated systems and machine learning tools. Section 2, Subsection 1, Subsection 3. The Tribunal trademark. The Tribunal trademark system allows our community of users to police the compliance of other users with the Summoner's Code, which outlines the principles of ideal gameplay behavior as well as with our other policies. Community members, including you, may submit descriptions of activity and actions of certain users within the game and collectively determine if that particular user was in compliance with our policies. If this tribunal determines in its sole discretion that you have violated one of our policies, we may suspend or terminate your account on behalf of the community. Section 2, Subsection 2. What happens if my account is terminated? No League of Legends for you. If your account is terminated, you'll no longer have access to it, including any of the associated data or content, example champions, skins, riot points, etc. You'll not be entitled to any refunds and will have no liability to you. We also reserve the right to terminate any of the other accounts you may have created, also without any refunds or liability to you. You understand and agree that using the Riot services comes with the risk that your account may be terminated or suspended, and that whenever you use the Riot services, you'll bear the risk in mind and always conduct yourself appropriately. Section 3. Limited License. Section 3, Subsection 1. What can I do with the Riot services? You can enjoy the Riot services for your own personal, non-commercial use. We grant you a limited, non-exclusive, non-transferable, revocable license to use and enjoy the Riot services for your individual, non-commercial entertainment purposes, only and expressly conditioned upon your compliance with the terms of this agreement. Unless otherwise expressly authorized by us in a signing writing, you may not sell, copy, exchange, loan, reverse engineer, decompile, derive source code from, translate, lease, grant a security interest in, transfer, publish, assign, or otherwise distribute any of the Riot services or any of Riot Games' intellectual property, including any computer code associated therewith. Section 3, Subsection 2. Can I do stuff with Riot's intellectual property? We reserve all the rights to our IP, but do allow for some personal non-commercial uses like fan art. We and our licensors own and reserve all rights and title in and to the Riot services, and all data and content included therein, including user accounts, computer code, titles, objects, artifacts, characters, character names, chat logs, game recordings and broadcasts, locations, location names, stories, dialogue, catchphrases, artwork, graphics, structural or landscape designs, animation, sounds, musical composition and recordings, riot points defined below, influence points defined below, Hextech items defined below, virtual goods defined below, audio, visual effects, character likeness, methods of operation and gameplay, collectively game content. If you can't create any work of authorship based on the game content or Riot services except as expressly permitted by us. For more info about what uses we currently permit, please read our legal jibber-jabber policy. You also agree that unless we grant you a license in a signed written contract, you may never use any of our trademarks, service marks, trade names, logos, domain names, taglines, or trade dress. Any reproduction, redistribution, or modification of the Riot services or use of Riot services not in accordance with this agreement is expressly prohibited and may result in severe civil and or criminal penalties. Section 4. Virtual Goods. Section 4, Subsection 1. What kind of virtual goods can I access in the game? You can unlock access to champions, skins, runes, etc. When using the game, you may unlock and gain access to various in-game virtual goods. Associated with your account, including champions, skins, ward skins, summoner icons, runes, and boosts. You can access these virtual goods in at least one of three ways. Section 4, Subsection 1, Subsection 1. with influence points. Every player gradually acquires influence points from playing the game. The better you perform in a game, the more influence points you'll earn. For example, you'll earn more influence points for winning a game than you'll earn for losing a game. You can use influence points to unlock and acquire access to various goods and certain virtual goods. Example, new champions and runes. Section 4, subsection 1, subsection 2. With Riot Points, every player with a valid active account may participate in our Riot Points service offering, which is a redeemable point system that operates like virtual currency. Riot Points can be purchased online through the in-game store or at retail in the form of a prepaid Riot Games card. Riot Games game card. Please note that you must register your Riot Games game card in the in-game store in order to access the Riot Points the card contains. Riot Points might also be provided to you by Riot Games as part of a promotion, or through other means, such as completing certain quests or achievements in the game, or through Riot Games sponsored contests or sweepstakes. You can also use Riot Points to unlock and acquire access to certain virtual goods. Example, boosts, skins, ward skins, and new champions. Section 4, subsection 1, subsection 3. With Hextech crafting and loot. When you or a pre-made team perform well in the game, you may receive virtual items such as keys, chests, shards, or essences, Hextech items, which you can use to unlock and acquire access to various virtual goods. You can also unlock and acquire access to certain Hextech items using our Hextech crafting store service, offering used Riot Points. Section 4, subsection 2. What are my responsibilities relating to Riot Points? Pay applicable taxes, verify that all transactions with us are correct, etc. You are solely responsible for paying any applicable taxes related to acquiring, using, or accessing Riot Points. Riot Points are sold or issued in bundles, and the price may vary depending on the amount you purchase and what you're purchasing. As we feel it necessary in our sole absolute discretion, we may limit the total amount of Riot Points that may be purchased at any one time, or that may be held in your account in the aggregate. Additionally, price and availability of Riot Points and virtual goods are subject to change without notice. You are solely responsible for verifying the proper amount of Riot Points has been added or deducted from your account during any given transaction. Please notify us immediately if you believe that a mistake has been made with respect to your Riot Points balance. We'll investigate your claim, and in doing so, we may request that some additional info to verify it. Section 4, subsection 3. Do I own the virtual goods I unlock? No. What you unlock is not a virtual good itself, but rather a qualified right to access it in the game. You have no ownership or other property interest in any of the virtual goods you unlock, regardless of whether you acquired access to those virtual goods using Riot Points, Influence Points, or Hextech crafting. Virtual goods have no monetary value. You can't redeem them for cash. You can't obtain any refunds for purchasing Riot Points or virtual goods, except as expressly permitted by us. You can find our current content refund policy here. We have the right to delete, alter, move, remove, or transfer any and all game content, including virtual goods, in whole or in part, at any time, for any reason or no reason, with or without notice to you. And with no liability of any kind to you, we don't provide or guarantee and expressly disclaim any value, cash, or otherwise, attributed to any data residing on servers we operate or control, including any game content attributed to your account. The sale or transfer of your right to access virtual goods, Influence Points, Riot Points, or Hextech items may only be conducted via services approved of or provided by us, if any. Section 4, subsection 4. Once again, I don't own these virtual goods. No, shouted all the lawyers. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary herein, you acknowledge and agree that you shall have no ownership or other property interest in your account, and that all the rights and to your account are and shall forever. Sorry, this is in all caps. It's pretty hard to read. Are and shall forever be owned by and inure to the benefit of Riot Games. You further acknowledge and agree that you have no claim, right, title, ownership, or other proprietary interest in the game content that you unlock or accumulate, regardless of any consideration offered or paid in exchange for Riot points or virtual goods. Furthermore, Riot Games shall not be liable in any manner for the destruction, deletion, modification, impairment, hacking, or any other damage or loss of any kind caused to the game content, virtual goods, or Riot points, including the deletion of game content, virtual goods, or Riot points upon the termination of expiration of your account. Section 4, subsection 5. Can I submit ideas for improving the game to Riot? Please don't. If you do anyways, we'll have the absolute right to use it forever. We value your feedback on the Riot services, but please don't submit any creative ideas, suggestions, or materials to us collectively, unsolicited ideas. This policy is aimed at avoiding potential misunderstanding or disputes when Riot services might seem similar to unsolicited ideas that people submit. If you submit unsolicited ideas anyway, then you grant us a worldwide, perpetual, irrevocable, sublicensable, transferable, assignable, non-exclusive, and royalty-free right to license and use, reproduce, distribute, adapt, modify, translate, create derivative works of, publicly perform, publicly display, digitally perform, make, have made, sell, offer for sale, and import your unsolicited ideas, including all copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, patents, industrial rights, and all other intellectual and proprietary rights related thereto in any media now known or hereafter developed, for any purpose whatsoever, commercial or otherwise, including giving the unsolicited ideas to others without any compensation to you. To the extent necessary, you agree that you undertake to execute and deliver any and all documents and perform any and all actions necessary or desirable to ensure that the rights to use unsolicited ideas granted to us as specific above are valid, effective, and enforceable. You also give up any claim that any use by us or our licenses of unsolicited ideas violates any of your rights, including moral rights, privacy rights, rights to publicity, proprietary or other rights, and rights to credit for material or ideas set forth therein. Section 5, Code of Conduct. Section 5, subsection 1. Can I troll, flame, threaten, or harass people while using Riot services? No. If you do, you might get banned. While using Riot services, you must comply with all laws, rules, and regulations in the jurisdiction in which you reside. You must also comply with certain additional rules that govern your use of the Riot services called the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct is not meant to be exhaustive, and we reserve the right to modify it at any time, as well as take appropriate disciplinary measures including account termination and deletion to protect the integrity and spirit of Riot services, regardless of whether a specific behavior is listed in the policy as inappropriate in addition to the Code of Conduct. Please review the Summoner's Code for additional guidance on exemplary gameplay behavior. The following are examples of behavior that warrant disciplinary measures. 1. Impersonating any person, business, or entity, including an employee of Riot Games, or communicating in any way that makes it appear the communication originates from Riot Games. 2. Posting identifying information about yourself or other users to the website or within the game. 3. Harassing, stalking, or threatening others users in the game. 4. removing, altering, or concealing any copyright, trademark, patent, or other proprietary rights notice of Riot Games contained in the website, the game, and or software. You may also not transmit content that violates or infringes the rights of others, including patent, trademark, trade secret, copyright, publicity, personal rights, or other rights. 5. Transmitting or communicating any content which, in the sole exclusive discretion of Riot Games, is deemed offensive, including language that is unlawful, harmful, threatening, abusive, harassing, defamatory, vulgar, obscene, sexually explicit, or racially, ethnically, or otherwise objectionable. 6. Transmitting or facilitating the transmission of any content that contains a virus, corrupted data, Trojan horse, bot, keystroke, logger, worm, time bomb, cancel bot, or other computer programming routines that are intended to and or actually damage, detrimentally interfere with, surreptitiously intercept or mine, scrape, or expropriate any system, data, or personal information. 7. Spamming chat, whether for personal or commercial purposes, by disrupting the flow of conversations with repeated postings. 8. Participating in any action in the sole and exclusive judgment of Riot Games defrauds any other users of the game, including scamming or social engineering. 9. Using any unauthorized third-party programs, including mods, hacks, cheats, scripts, bots, trainers, and automation programs that interact with the software in any way, for any purpose, including any unauthorized third-party programs that intercept, emulate, or redirect any communication between the software and Riot Games, and any unauthorized third-party programs that collect information about the game by reading areas of memory used by the software to store information. 10. Accessing or attempting to access areas of the game or game services that have not yet been made available to the public. 11. Selecting a summoner name that is falsely indicative of an association with Riot Games, contains personally identifying information, or that is offensive, defamatory, vulgar, obscene, sexually explicit, racially, ethnically, or otherwise objectionable. You may not use a misspelling or alternative spelling to circumvent this restriction on summoner name choices. Riot Games may modify any name which, in the sole and exclusive judgment of Riot Games, violates this provision without notification to you, and may take further disciplinary measures, including account termination for repeated violations. 12. Logging out or exiting the game during live play. Riot Games' automated Leave Buster system tracks this data over time and issues a temporary ban whenever a user is determined to have left mid-game too many times. The length of temporary ban will increase over time if a particular account continues to leave live gameplay. Or 13. Playing on another person's account to boost that account's status or rank, aka smurfing. Section 6. User-generated content. Section 6, subsection 1. Am I responsible for the content that I post on, in the Riot services? Yes, and we can use what you post. You are responsible for any communications, images, sounds, or other material and info that you upload or transmit through the Riot services, quote-unquote, your content. You grant us, from the time of uploading or transmission of your content, a worldwide, perpetual, irrevocable, sublicensable, transferable, assignable, non-exclusive, and royalty-free right and license to use, reproduce, distribute, adapt, modify, translate, create derivative works of, publicly perform, publicly display, digitally perform, make, have made, sell, offer for sale, and import your content, including all copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, patents, industrial rights, and all other intellectual and proprietary rights related thereto. In any media now known or hereafter developed for any purpose whatsoever, commercial or otherwise, including giving your content to others without any compensation to you, You waive any moral rights you may have in your content to the maximum extent permitted by the laws of your jurisdiction. You represent, warrant, and agree that none of your content will be subject to obligation, whether of confidentiality, attribution, or otherwise, on the part of Riot Games, and Riot Games won't be liable for any use or disclosure of your content. You further represent, warrant, and agree that your content shall not violate any third-party rights. Section 7. Consent to monitoring. Section 7, subsection 1. Does Riot monitor me while I'm using Riot services? Yes. Please read the privacy policy to learn more. We monitor use of Riot services for a wide variety of different purposes, including preventing cheating, hacking, reducing toxic player behavior, and improving Riot services. Please be sure to read our privacy policy for important details about how we process info in connection with your game with your use of the Riot services. I almost screwed up there. Section 8. Updates and modifications. Section 8, subsection 1. Will this agreement change in the future? Yes. We may, and probably will, create updated versions of this agreement in the future as the Riot services and applicable laws evolve. When we do, we'll ask you to agree to a new agreement, which will supersede and replace this agreement. You'll be given an opportunity to review any new agreement we present to you and decide whether you wish to agree to the revised terms. If you accept the new agreement, you'll be able to continue using Riot services. If you decline the new agreement, you'll not be able to use Riot services. Section 8, subsection 2. Will the Riot services stay the same? No. Like Kha'Zix, they will evolve. In an effort to improve Riot services, you agree that we may change, modify, update, suspend, nerf, or restrict your access to any features as part of Riot services, including virtual goods. You may require that you download and install updates to any software required to support the Riot services at any time without notice or liability to you. You also understand and agree that any such changes or updates to Riot services may change the system specifications necessary to play the game, and in such case, you, and not Riot Games, are responsible for purchasing any necessary additional software or hardware in order to access and play the game. You also understand and agree that we may use background patching to automatically update the game and software in our sole and absolute discretion, with or without notice to you. Section 9. Boards and links. Section 9, subsection 1. Can I use the boards? So long as you have a valid account or act maturely. If you have a valid active account, you may use the boards section of the website, The Boards, provided that you abide by the code of conduct and any other posted rules. We may revoke your access to the boards at any time in our sole and absolute discretion. Use the boards at your own risk. We reserve the right but have no obligation to monitor and police the boards. We aren't responsible for any content on the boards. We will have no liability to you for any harm you may incur by using the boards. What about links in the Riot services? Are those safe? Like Bard's Magical Journeys, you might find something dangerous waiting for you on the other side. Proceed with caution. The Riot services may contain links to websites operated by other parties. Again, we do not own or operate these other websites. We provide links to you as convenience, or other users might be posting these links as user-provided content. Use these links and the corresponding external websites at your own risk. We don't control the linked sites, and we're not responsible for any content available there, such links don't imply our endorsement or info or material on any other site. And we disclaim all liability with regard to your access and use of such linked websites. Section 10. Fees. I might have forgotten to say Section 9, subsection 2. Section 10, subsection 1. Is everything about the game free? No. Some aspects of the game require you to pay a fee, and you agree that you'll provide accurate and complete payment info to us or the third-party payment provider used by us. You further agree to pay all fees and applicable taxes incurred by you or anyone using the account registered to you. We may revise the pricing for the game or any item associated therewith at any time. All fees and charges are payable in accordance with payment terms and effect at the time the fee or the charge becomes due and payable. We may, from time to time, modify, amend, or supplement our fees and fee billing methods, and such changes shall be effective immediately upon posting this agreement elsewhere on the website or in the game. If there is a dispute regarding payment of fees to us, your account may be terminated or suspended without warning or notice at our sole discretion. Any applicable fees and other charges for fee-based services, including Riot Points, are payable in advance and aren't refundable in whole or in part. You are fully liable for all charges to your account, including any unauthorized charges. Section 11. Notice and procedure for claims of copyright infringement. DMCA. Section 11, subsection 1. What should I do if someone is infringing my copyrighted work on the website? Send us a DMCA takedown notice. If you're a copyright owner or agent thereof and believe that the content posted on the website elsewhere in Riot Games infringes upon your copyright, please submit a notice pursuant the Digital Millennium Copyright Act 17 U.S.C. 512C to the Riot Games copyright agent info below with 1. An electronic or physical signature of the person authorized to act on behalf of the copyright owner. 2. A description of the copyrighted work that you claim as being infringed. 3. The URL of the location on the website or other location within the Riot services containing the material you claim is infringing. 4. Your address, telephone number, and email address. 5. A statement by you that you have a good faith belief that the disputed use is not authorized by the copyright owner, its agent, or the law. And 6. A statement by you made under the penalty of perjury that the above information in your notice is accurate and that you are the copyright owner or authorized to act on the copyright owner's behalf. Riot Games copyright agent can be reached by mail at Riot Games Incorporated, 12333 West Olympic Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90064. Attention, copyright agent, or by email copyright@riotgames.com. This email address is intended solely for the receipt of DMCA notices and not for general inquiries and requests of Riot Games. Attachments cannot be accepted at the email address for security reasons. Accordingly, any notification of infringement submitted electronically with an attachment will not receive or be processed. Please note that these notifications are legal notices and that Riot Games may provide copies of such notices to the participants in the dispute or to third parties. At its discretion or as required by law, the privacy policy does not protect information provided in this notice. Section 12. Oh shit, it's all in caps. Section 12, Warranty and Disclaimer. Section 12, subsection 1. Does Riot make any warranties about the Riot services? No. More lawyer shouting incoming. The Riot services are provided to you on an as-is and as-available basis without warranties or representations of any kind, express or implied. To the fullest extent permitted by applicable law, Riot Games disclaims all warranties, expressed or implied, which might apply to the Riot services, including implied warranties of the title, non-infringement Merchantability. Fitness for a particular purpose. Any warranties that may arise from the course of performance or usage of trade, and any warranties as to the accuracy, reliability, or quality of any content or information contained within the Riot services. Riot Games does not warrant that the Riot services will be uninterrupted or error-free, that defects will be corrected, or that the Riot services are free of viruses or other harmful components. You assume all responsibility for selecting the Riot services to achieve your intended results and for the installation of, use of, and results obtained from the Riot services. Section 13. Indemnification. Section 13, subsection 1. If someone sues Riot based on my use or misuse of Riot services, do I have to pay for Riot's legal expenses? Yes. You hereby agree to indemnify, defend, and hold harmless Riot Games and subsidiaries, affiliates, officers, and directors from and against any and all claims, lawsuits, damages, losses, liable, and costs, including attorney fees, that direct or indirectly arise from your use or misuse of Riot services. Any violation by you of any of these provisions of this agreement or the privacy policy, or any infringement by you of any third party's rights. Riot Games reserves the right, at its own expense and its sole and absolute discretion, to assume the exclusive defense and control of any matter otherwise subject to indemnification by you, in which event you'll cooperate with Riot Games in asserting any available defenses. For example, if you use the Riot services as part of a business operation, something you're not allowed to do, and we get sued because of what you're doing, you'll have to defend us in court and pay for any damages we incur. Section 14. Limitation of liability. Section 14, subsection 1. Is there a limit on Riot's potential liability under this agreement? Yes. Under no circumstances and under no legal theory, whether in contract, tort, including negligence, strict liability, or otherwise, shall Riot Games be liable to you or any other person for any indirect, incidental, consequential, special, exemplary, or punitive damages of any kind, including damages for loss of business, loss of data, loss of goodwill, or loss of profits, or any damages for gross negligence of any kind, including damages for work stoppage, computer failure, or malfunction, or any other commercial damages or losses arising from your use or misuse of Riot services, even if Riot Games knew or should have known the possibility of such damages. In no event shall Riot Games be liable for any damages in excess of any amount you have paid to Riot Games for game-related transactions, if any, during the 6 months immediately prior to the time your cause of action arose. Section 15. Dispute resolution. Oh, shit. Section 15, subsection 1. What the heck is arbitration? A private dispute resolution method. No courtrooms or juries. Arbitration is an alternative dispute resolution process in which parties agree to have their disputes decided by a neutral third party and not by sitting judge or jury. Arbitration allows parties to resolve their disputes privately and without the formality of going to court. Arbitration follows different procedural rules than a court would and is subject to very limited review by courts. Section 15, subsection 2. Will arbitration allow for the same type of relief as court? Yes. The arbitrator shall have the power to award any type of legal, equitable relief that would be available in court of competent jurisdiction. The arbitrator's decision, called an award, will consist of a written statement stating the disposition of each claim and provide a concise written statement of the essential findings and conclusions on which the award is based. The award will be final, binding upon the parties, may be confirmed by a court of competent jurisdiction, and then enforced like any other court order or judgment. Section 15, subsection 3. What claims are we agreeing to submit to arbitration? Almost everything. Any dispute, claim, or controversy arising out of or related to this agreement or the riot services shall be resolved exclusively in private, binding arbitration rather than in court, except that qualifying small claims may be submitted in small claims court, and either party may seek emergency, provisional relief before an appointment of an arbitrator as specified in section 15.9 below. This means that, except for qualifying small claims, actions, and emergency situations covered by section 15.9 below, you and Riot Games are waiving our right to bring such claims to court, including the right to a jury trial. Section 15, subsection 4. Can I bring a class or collective action claim? No, sorry, for more lawyer shouting, but this is very important. You and Riot Games agree that each of us may bring claims against the other only on an individual basis and not as a plaintiff or class member in any perpetrated class or representative action or proceeding. Unless both you and Riot Games agree otherwise, the arbitrator may not consolidate or join more than one person's or party's claims and may not otherwise preside over any form of consolidated, representative, or class proceeding. Also, the arbitrator may award relief, including monetary, injunctive, and declaratory relief, only in favor of the individual party seeking relief, and not only to the extent necessary to provide relief necessitated by the party's individual claims. Section 15, subsection 5. What issues will the arbitrator decide? Pretty much everything. The arbitrator shall decide all issues in dispute between you and Riot Games, except, however, that a court, and not the arbitrator, shall decide any issues relating to the scope or enforceability of this agreement to arbitrate. Who will administer the arbitration? JAMS, using it in comprehensive arbitration rules. The arbitration shall be administered by JAMS pursuant to its comprehensive arbitration rules and procedures. A sole arbitrator shall be selected pursuant to these rules. Judgment on the award may be entered into any court having jurisdiction. What law applies if we get into a dispute? The Federal Arbitration Act and California state law. The Federal Arbitration Act and Federal Arbitration Law apply to the enforcement of this arbitration agreement. California law, exclusive of conflict or choice of law rules, applies for deciding all other claims and issues, including the interpretation of this agreement. Section 15, subsection 8. How does arbitration get started? One of us sends the other one in JAMS a written notification describing the situation and relief sought. Either party may commence arbitration processing, and party commencing the arbitration is called the claimant. To start the arbitration, the claimant must send JAMS a demand for arbitration. JAMS has created a form of this purpose entitled Demand for Arbitration, which is available on this website in addition to sending this form of JAMS and paying a filing fee. The claimant must mail a copy of demand for arbitration to the opposing party, called the respondent, In the event you initiate arbitration against Riot Games, you must send a copy to Riot Games at the following address. Riot Games Incorporated, ATTN, Legal Department 12333, West Olympic Boulevard, Los Angeles, California 90064. In the event Riot Games initiates arbitration against you, we will send a copy of the completed form to the physical address we have on file associated with your account. If any, or if we don't have a physical address for you, then to the email address associated with your account. Section 15, subsection 9. What if there's an emergency before the arbitration gets started? Then either party may go to court for the limited purpose of seeking a provisional remedy. Either party may seek emergency provisional remedies, including injuncture or similar relief, pursuant to the JAMS rules or for a court competent jurisdiction located in Los Angeles County, California, where necessary to protect the parties' rights and interests pending the appointment of an arbitrator. Section 15, subsection 10. Who's going to pay for the arbitration? We pay more than you because we're a business and you're a consumer, but you do have to pay a filing fee if you initiate. If you initiate the arbitration, you must pay the JAMS filing fee required for customer arbitrations. Payment for all other fees will be governed by JAMS rules and procedures governing consumer arbitrations. Riot Games will have to pay more fees than you because Riot Games is a business and you are a consumer, because you will still have to pay some, example, an initial filing fee roughly equivalent to what it would cost to file a complaint in court. Section 15, subsection 11. Where will the arbitration take place? Over the phone, in writing, or in your hometown, your choice. You may choose to have the arbitration conducted by telephone based on written submissions, in person in the country where you live, or at another mutually agreed location. Section 15, subsection 12. Can either of us tell our friends and Twitter followers about the arbitration? Nope. You and Riot Games agree that any dispute, claim, or controversy that has been submitted to arbitration and all related proceedings, including any settlement agreement, shall be kept confidential. However, the prevailing party or any arbitration may file the arbitration award with any court competent jurisdiction in order to have that award confirmed in a court order or judgment. Section 15, subsection 13. What if part of this agreement isn't enforceable? The rest stays. We keep as much of it as we can be enforced under the law. You and Riot Games agree that if any part of this arbitration agreement is declared unenforceable, that part shall be severed, and the remainder of this arbitration agreement shall be given full force and effect. However, if Section 15.4 above, entitled Can I Bring Class Action of the Claim, or any part thereof is found unenforceable, then the entire arbitration agreement, i.e. all of Section 15, shall be severed from the agreement, and all claims between you and Riot Games shall be exclusively decided by a court located in Los Angeles County, California, as set forth in Section 15.14 below. Section 15, subsection 14. If we do end up in court for some reason, can either of us pick a court location other than Los Angeles to file the lawsuit? No! In the event that either you or Riot Games commence a court action, any such action shall be brought exclusively in state or federal courts located in Los Angeles County, California, and you and Riot Games both submit personal jurisdiction there. Section 16, miscellaneous. Section 16, subsection 1. What can I do if I have questions about the game or this agreement? Until the day we can establish a Yordle call center, you can email us. If you have any questions concerning these terms and conditions, or you would like to contact us for any other reason, please contact Riot Games support at riotgames.com or visit the support tab on the website. Can either party assign this agreement? No, just us. Riot Games may sign this agreement in whole or in part to any person or entity at any time with or without your consent. You may not assign the agreement without the Riot Games prior written consent, and any unauthorized assignments by you shall be null and void. 16.3. Is this our entire agreement? Yes, including those other important policies we talked about earlier. This agreement represents the complete agreement between you and Riot Games concerning the Riot services and supersedes any prior or contemporaneous agreements between you and Riot Games. Provided, however, this agreement shall coexist with and shall not supersede any other Riot Games policies referenced in this agreement. Section 16, subsection 4. What happens if a natural disaster interferes with the game? Riot isn't liable. Riot Games shall not be liable for any delay or failure to perform, including any failure to perform hereunder due to unforeseen circumstances caused beyond Riot Games' control, such as acts of God, war, terrorism, hacking, cyber attacks, bomb threats, data corruption, loss, riots, embargoes, acts of civil or military authorities, fire, floods, accidents, strikes, or shortages of transportation facilities, fuel, energy, labor, or materials. Section 16, subsection 5. Does this agreement mean we're partners? Not in a legal sense, no. You agree that no joint venture, partnership, employment, or agency relationship exists between you and Riot Games as a result of this agreement on your use of the Riot services. Section 16, subsection 6. If I violate this agreement and Riot Games does nothing for a long time, does that mean I'm off the hook? No, we reserve all of our rights. Riot Games' failure to enforce any provision of this agreement shall in no way be construed to be a present or future waiver of such provision, nor in any way affect the right of any party to enforce each and every such provision thereafter. Any waiver by Riot Games of any provision, condition, or requirement of this agreement shall not constitute a waiver of any future obligation to comply with such provision, condition, or requirement. If I need to send a legal notice to Riot, where do I send it? We hope you never need to send us legal notices, but if you do, except as otherwise expressly provided herein, all notices given by you or required under this agreement shall be in writing and addressed to Riot Games Incorporated, 12333 West Olympic Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90064. Attention, ATTN, Legal Department. Section 16, subsection 8. Can I play the game if the U.S. government thinks I might be a terrorist or I live in an embargoed country? No. You may not use Riot services if 1. The Office of Foreign Assets Control of the United States Treasury Department lists you as a specifically designated national and or blocked person. 2. The Bureau of Industry and Security of the United States Department of Commerce lists you on its denied person list or list of parties of concern. Or 3. You're on any similar list promulgated by an official agency or department of the United States government. You warrant and represent that you're not located in, under the control of, or national or resident of any embargoed country. Section 16, subsection 9. If part of this agreement is invalidated, what happens to the rest? Like Zach, this agreement might lose a part or two, but what's left lives on. Except as otherwise provided herein, if any provision of this agreement is held invalid or unenforceable for any reason, such provision shall be reformed to the extent necessary to make it enforceable to the maximum extent permissible so as it affect the intent of the parties, and the remainder of this agreement shall continue in full force and effect. If, however, it is determined that such provision can't be reformed, then the provision shall be deemed severable from these terms and shall not affect the validity and enforceability of any remaining provisions. Section 16, subsection 10. Are these silly headings legally binding? No, these headings are just our lawyers' way of trying to be engaging or funny. Other lawyers find these headings to be appropriately engaging and funny. The headings and parentheticals in this agreement are provided for information and entertainment purposes only. They have no legal effect whatsoever. Section 16, subsection 11. How long does this agreement last? For as long as you use Riot services or until your account is terminated. Some provisions have been chrono shifted though and last forever. This agreement begins on the date you first accept it and it lasts for as long as you use Riot services. As described below, however, sections 3.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, 6, 10, and 12 through 16 inclusive shall survive the termination of this agreement. Section 16, subsection 1, where we say including in this agreement, is that the language limiting? Is that language limiting? No. Whenever we use including in this agreement, we mean including without limitation. You hereby acknowledge and agree that you have read the understand and the foregoing agreement, and that you read and understand the foregoing agreement, and by selecting the accept button below, or otherwise using or accessing the Riot services, you are agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions set forth herein.